Hello and welcome to September's training plan makeover. A little announcement that I don't usually make. There are tons of you that are new around here that maybe just found me. So that are maybe new to this newsletter altogether. So if you just got on here, and you're watching this or you're reading my newsletter, please hit reply and introduce yourself. And yeah, just tell me who you are. I would love to hear from you. I am a human being that likes to coach and help fellow human beings, so I would love to actually know who is here, reading my stuff and watching things and learning from me. So, welcome to the classroom of Good Spray. I'm so glad to have you here. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so this month we are helping out Colton. And so in this, if you are new to the training plan makeover thing that we're doing here, every month I will take one audience submitted training program and then I will give it a makeover and I will improve upon it. But typically, while I improve upon it, I'm also going to teach you some concepts that are foundational to the tweaks that I am making. So here I'm going to go through an example with Colton, and then I'm going to give you some key takeaways at the end that you can use in your own training. And usually I like to keep these as short as possible. So typically if there's something that I want you to incorporate or I want you to learn, but I don't want to fully explain it, I will leave additional resources to free things that you can leverage to go deeper with certain lessons in the description or inside of the newsletter. But usually I'll link them in like the description of the YouTube video that you're watching. So anyways, okay, enough orientation. Let's talk about Colton. All right, so Colton is in his first year of climbing. He's at the place where climbing like V0 through V2 climbs in the gym is easy. He's like top roping 510s. V3s and V4s feel sometimes doable, but feel more challenging for him. He does a lot of mileage with bikes, running, and he also walks his dog a lot, which is lovely. And he is doing some strength training about 1 or 2 times a week. So Colton is active and busy, and I assume Colton's dog has a lot of energy to burn with how much he walks. So, okay. So before we get into this, you might be thinking, but isn't it too early for Colton to be training for climbing? Shouldn't he just climb more? Okay, so super quick before we get into all of this, training is just taking a more organized approach to what you're doing. I think when a lot of people think climbing training, they think hangboarding, they think campusing, they think like doing crazy shit. They think like high volume endurance workouts where you're like getting ridiculously pumped and in the gym for hours and hours and hours. That is not by definition what training is. All training is taking a more organized, progressive approach. Anyone can train. Anyone can be more intentional with their approach to their sport. I put this picture of like, if you watched my reel yesterday, I put a little picture of 4-year-olds playing soccer because guess what? 4-year-olds going to soccer practice is 4-year-olds training. These children look like they're maybe older than 4. I'm starting to learn what children look like at different ages because I have nephews now. Okay, anyways, so bottom line, going rock climbing is training for climbing. Going rock climbing is training for climbing. But in order for it to be truly training, you have to have a little bit of organization and a little bit of intention behind what you're doing besides just going climbing. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. Okay, wanted to get that out in the open in case anyone was confused. And now you can explain this to people when they give you bad advice. Okay, let's keep going. So, all right, Colton's schedule is as follows. So Colton does a lot of, like, he's going walking every day. So Monday, you'll also notice that I graded how difficult these days sound with like light, moderate, and hard. So we've got our this day. On Tuesdays, we are bouldering, we're running, biking, walking. Wednesdays, we're top roping and lifting, long run, and we're also walking the dog on top of that. Yeah, as you can see, it's kind of like we have like climbing days, and then layered on top of all of this is like a lot of aerobic work, which is great. So a few notes to take about Colton's schedule. He does like 30 minutes of biking every day, which sounds awesome. His body's probably very used to that. He goes on runs 4 or 5 times a week. And he is for his bouldering, he usually gets warmed up and then he just climbs like a lot until he's tired. So it's like a lot of high volume, not a lot of rest. Colton likes the aerobic zone. It seems. So Colton likes to be running, likes to keep moving, which is great. And then like his top roping is usually like 30 to 60 minutes of like top roping with a partner. Okay. So, very roughly speaking, and I didn't do like exact math for this, but this is just like what it feels like to me in terms of like how much time Colton is spending in certain types of movement. So, right now, he's spending like a lot of his time on like running and walking, a good bit of his time also on biking, and then climbing is like the least amount. And I guess climbing and lifting, you can lump these things together. Great. Remember, this is not exact, but this is from looking at the numbers and my rough impression. This is kind of where we're at. This is where I want us to get. So just more climbing and a little bit of like, maybe not reduction of running and walking, but just like introducing more climbing into here. This is optimized for more climbing progress while also honoring lifestyle. This is for Colton. This is not for everybody, right? So like so basically like in a nutshell, I am saying we should be doing more climbing and lifting in order to get better at climbing and lifting. This is true, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to take that a step further. So bottom line is like, we just want to work this in more and have like more of a distribution of, and again, this is rough percentages. This is not an exact science or numbers. And remember, this is for Colton because Colton has a dog and Colton also likes running and going on walks and biking. You might not do this much aerobic stuff, and that's totally fine. Most of you probably won't, and that's completely okay. So just wanted to put that out there. Honoring Colton's lifestyle, but we do want to go rock climbing more. Okay, so here is the makeover edition of Colton's program. So I want Mondays and Fridays to be rest days. So something that I'm going to rate, RPE is rate of perceived exertion, and that's just how hard does this feel on a scale of 1 to 10. And if you're like, that feels inexact and like I'm just going by how I feel, you'd be right. That's actually a really good thing to learn how to do because you becoming in tune with how hard something feels on your body is a critical skill in rock climbing. Let me tell you, like being able to understand that will change your life and also mitigate injury like a lot. So see how we now have like more variability throughout Colton's week. So these days are now more like light or rest days. So RPE 3 or less. Like we can do all this stuff. This is totally fine. But I want the overall rate of perceived exertion from all of this to be like 3. So we want to keep it chill. We don't want to like push to go too fast. And these are going to be our like recovery days while still allowing for the fact that like Colton's dog needs walked. Okay. So Tuesday for our bouldering session, we're going to, instead of doing like this volume boulder type thing, which is not a bad thing, we'll get there, but I want this day after we're like really recovered to be more about like trying to send climbs and like giving climbs more than 1 or 2 tries. So Colton mentioned feeling like V3s or V4s are hard. It sounds like Colton's maybe only giving these climbs like 2 or 3 attempts. I want like more than that. I want you to be like, I'm going to spend 20 minutes trying to figure out this rock climb and I might do like 7, 8, 9 attempts on it before I move on. Okay? Things like that. So we'll talk more about that in a second. Then second day on, we're going to do some top roping. Would love to aim for more. It sounds like whatever Colton is doing top roping works. Maybe a little bit more like, I'm going to try this climb 2 times instead of like just doing it once and moving on. Again, we'll get to that in a little bit. And then some lifting here. So hinge and push. I'm going to link you all to some resources about like strength training in general because I think that'll be helpful because I don't want to go into it here because this video would get very long. But hinge being deadlift and then push being like push-ups, overhead press, all of that. Again, just hold that thought. So we're going with like movement patterns. Thursday, leaving that as Colton's long run and like moderate RPE walk. So like this is probably going to be a pretty tough day, but like if we keep if we stay like aerobic zone and don't push too hard during this long run, I think we'll be fine. But like Colton, if you're psyched and you're like, no, I kind of want to like go forever and go a little bit fast, like party on, Wayne, that's fine. But you'll definitely want this like recovery day after that. Okay. Saturday is going to be our like endurance-y day. So you could either do that like boulder volume type session where you just kind of like go, 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 climb a bunch of shit. That's awesome. Like do it to it. Or you could go for like top rope volume. And then Sunday is where instead of doing like all this volume and then lifting after that, I would like lift on a separate day just so that you aren't like absolutely gassed from bouldering and then trying to like do pull-ups. That's just gonna kind of suck. So lifting day, just like pull and squat movement patterns here, and then bike, walk, run. Another thing you could do is you could do like upper body lifting, lower body lifting, like whatever. Up to you, but something to consider. Okay, so a few other notes that I want to give Colton. So if you can, try to prioritize doing your climbing and lifting first activity of the day and then doing your like other more aerobic stuff after. Obviously, if that doesn't work out, if you like are biking to the gym, like no big deal, but just know that like if you're doing strength or skill oriented things, doing those earlier in the day before you like aerobically wear yourself out is going to help you have higher quality sessions. Okay, incorporating some movement skill work into your climbing session. So this is something like I wish I would have started doing so much earlier in my climbing. It would have taught me so many things so much earlier on and helped me not develop bad movement habits that I had to fix later. So I could talk forever about this, but I have a free course. It is completely free. It took me eons to make, like months and months and months. It's excellent. So it's totally free, and it is a course that'll help you understand like some important concepts in climbing movement. And this, if you've been climbing for a few months and you're like, I'm ready to learn some stuff, this is going to be great. So I would just take that course, and I'm also going to link you to a couple of movement drills below. And then using that rate of perceived exertion for running, biking, so you can actually like modulate the difficulty. And then again, this boulder day, hard moves, rest between attempts, think tactically. I'm going to link you to a resource that'll help you with that. Okay, so in a nutshell, if you're coming here and you're like, I'm new to climbing, I've been climbing for a little while, and I just want to make my approach better, here are some things that you can do. So one is vary your training intensity. So instead of every single session being like you going absolutely balls to the wall, have some sessions that are easy, have some sessions that are medium, have some sessions that are really hard. Go bouldering. Do not just top rope. Go bouldering. Even if it feels annoying that V1 feels hard, I do not care. Start bouldering now. I promise you, you will not regret it. Also, spend time trying boulders and routes for more than 1 or 2 attempts. Okay, I'm going to link you to a video that'll teach you some like indoor climbing tactics that'll help so that you aren't just like, I just keep trying it and nothing's changing. Use some movement drills in your warm-up. We talked about that. I'll link you to that below. And also the other thing is that strength training is good for you in general, but it is especially going to be helpful for you to start building a base of strength now, especially if you don't have like a big athletic background. Getting stronger will help you be more robust. It'll make it less likely for you to get injured. It'll help build your bone density. It'll give you more longevity as an athlete. It does not matter where you are at in your climbing journey. Doing some basic strength training just to become a more athletic, sturdy human being is a great fucking idea. So it's so weird. The internet's been very strange the past couple of days, but it's very odd that people want to get mad about that recommendation. Very strange to me. There aren't many things that are so well studied as the relationship between resistance training and like longevity in sport and longevity in general. Strength training is very good for you. We don't need to debate this. Go to Google Scholar and go to town. There's so much research on this. Debating this is crazy. Okay, so that's the advice I have for you. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I know this one got a little bit long, but hopefully if you stuck around for all of it, you found it useful. So last thing is custom plans, aka working one-on-one with me, is now enrolling for fall. Right now, that's the only way to work with me because enrollment for my membership, the crew, is closed. So if you want to work with me, we could work together one-on-one and I would just be directly coaching you and it'd be awesome. So if you want to learn more about that, links for that are below, and you can also just go ahead and apply to work with me and we'll figure out if we're a good fit. Okay, that's all I have for you this week. Welcome, newer climbers, to the Training Plan Makeover newsletter. I hope you found this useful. And also, a last note, even if you're a climber who's more advanced, if you've just been like in a place where you're like, I can't have my training be super complicated, lean on the basics, baby. The basics are amazing. Start there, and then you can get fancier as you rebuild your habits and all of that. Okay, that's all for this week. Y'all are the best. Talk to you soon.